And I try to, and then I have to explain. I have this conversation at least once a week. I swear, my hair falls out more and more the more I have this conversation.
Well, welcome back again, guys, to part two. Apparently, I don't know what we're going to do here. Part two, part one should be on Christian's video. If you haven't watched that, go over to his channel. It'll be a link. It'll be in the description. Go watch it. If you start hearing anything after this, you might catch on, but you might not. You should probably go watch it before you watch this one. So it's right over there. It's right over there. Ryan, do your thing. You know how to make it work. He's awesome. We're talking about Final Expense and Medicare and how they go hand in hand and why aren't more agents doing it. Does that sound correct?
Yeah. Yep.
I did a good job.
I think that's where we were. I think that's where we were. And you know, I just wanted to just quickly start this video off by letting everybody know it's because I'm too cheap to pay $16 a month for Zoom, and that's why we have this format the way it is. So I take full responsibility for that.
All that Medicare money and too cheap to pay for Zoom.
You know, it's all these agents that want free leads out of me. You know,
you're giving away. If it wasn't for all the free leads, you would have your own Zoom account.
All the free leads that I just, you know, rain on people.
No.
See? This is what you get, guys.
Well, it looks like, and I forgot to say this on the other video, it looks like Nick's got his field shirt on. Were you out in the field?
Yeah, no, we are in, so Pennsylvania is doing things differently than the rest of the country, which if you've been watching our channel, you may be aware. We have a tiered reopening system that the Pennsylvania Department of Insurance has gotten on board with and has said as long as counties were in what was considered a red zone, which was more than 50 new COVID cases a week. At one point, that was the definition. I think they've changed the definitions at this point, but you were not allowed to engage in face-to-face insurance sales whatsoever. At all, fully forbidden. If you were caught doing it, you risked losing your license and spending time in jail. Yeah, up to 6 months.
What are you in for, Nick? Selling insurance.
Yeah, I know, right? So in the yellow phase, which this past week my counties that I work in moved to the yellow phase, you are allowed to see people face to face, although phone sales are still preferred when feasible. So hard to really say exactly what the law means. It is vague. But the guidance for the green phase came out, which said that door knocking is allowed again in the green phase, which makes me think that appointments are the only way that you're allowed to legally do things in the yellow phase. So my counties go green on Friday, which means that I'm allowed to door knock people again. But I've been running a few appointments this week. Also, I'm allowed to get a haircut again on Friday. And yeah, so it's very exciting.
Yeah. I tipped my lady $100. Just to cut my hair.
I pre-bought a gift certificate to make sure that the people at the place where I get my hair cut had some money to get through because it's tough for everybody right now.
It is. So. It is.
I mean, I remember, you know, the first time that I was able to get my hair cut, I could, because I looked like a homeless person by the end of the pandemic. I did, like beard was everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, the patches of hair on my head were everywhere. Like it was awful. It was awful, Mike. And I remember being stoked out of my mind to get my hair cut. That was like, of all the things that I missed, it was that.
That seems to be the thing for most people. It's crazy.
You know who probably lost his mind? One of our guests, Jose Arteaga.
Yeah. Well, you know, he lives in Arizona, and I don't know that they ever shut anything down.
Really? Okay. See, like, I just imagine him not being able to, like, go and do all the things that, like, he likes to do, because I know you get a haircut once a week. He'd probably lose his mind.
Yeah, I don't know, because I haven't followed it particularly well. Jose offered to send me In-N-Out the other day. He said he'd get it freeze dried and mail it out to me because he knows it's tough times out here in Pennsylvania. So yeah, But it's good. It's exciting. I got to get out and see some people. I'm having a good week. I hit $150,000 in final expense premium for the year so far.
Awesome.
Today, which only puts me $50,000 behind the pace I was on before the pandemic. But we'll get there.
All things considered, that's awesome. Seriously, man.
No.
Great job. That's awesome.
But mostly it's nice to not be on the phone all day long anymore. Lots of people really like it. I do not understand those people.
Telesales people.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Now, Christian, do you do telesales?
So we do a mixture. I don't go to people's houses anymore.
Okay.
I just don't have the time with everything we're doing now. I started going to people's houses for years and years. And now when we do face-to-face with somebody, I'd say 99.9% of the time they're coming here into the office and meeting me here.
Okay.
And I'd say if they're too far away to come into the office, then we'll try to do a virtual telesales kind of thing. I mean, depending on who I'm talking to, sometimes it's easier said than done, depending on, especially with seniors.
Right.
But in the last year, about 2 years ago, we were only licensed in selling in 2 states. That was Utah and Florida, because I lived in Florida for a while. Now we're licensed in 10 states and selling actively in most of them.
Nice.
So we do a lot of applications in, Florida still. We do applications in Colorado, Oregon. We're doing quite a few in Virginia now.
Well, I know you do your podcast. It has, in the previous video, if you watch it, it has about 1,000 downloads a week and you get about 20 organic. Is it only coming in those states, or how do you do that?
I'd say, a majority of them come in from those states, because I try to make it known on the show, the states that we're able to service people in.
Got it. Okay.
Because at the beginning, when we were just putting out the content, I didn't really know what it was. We were just putting it out, and people were reaching out to us from all over the place. And so then I started to realize real quickly, okay, I don't really want to pick up a Delaware license just for one person. Some states I'm willing to do that for one person. Some states I'm not. It just depends on the state. But so I started making it very well known. Okay, these are the states we can work with you in. If you need help, call us. And I'd say that at the beginning of the show, the end of the show, and people pick up the phone and call. It's amazing.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Medicare is a whole different world. If we put out a Final Expense podcast going out just to Final Expense clientele, not only do I not think anybody would listen, but I don't think we would get anybody calling in telling us they wanted to buy insurance from us.
It's crazy. I mean, Medicare and I think it's just because, like we were talking about in the last video, the people have to do something with it. Mm-hmm. Like they got to figure it out some way or another. So there's that desire there, and I think content for Medicare is so valuable for that reason. But like I was doing a video this morning with Landy McCarter, Secure Agent Marketing, and he told me that. So I guess they're working with the guy that runs Medicare on Video, Keith, and he told me that Keith gets 80 organic leads a month, or I think he said he's writing 80 apps a month.
Wow.
From his YouTube channel.
Wow.
Which I was like, damn, that's a big number just from a YouTube channel.
Really strong. That's kind of like, how do you have the time to write that much business levels of strong? Like,
right.
That's like nice. Good for him.
Yeah. I mean, which is fantastic. I mean, I've never talked to him. I've messaged him a couple of times here and there. He seems like a very nice guy. But he's got a massive YouTube channel. You know?
Well, and it is really valuable information. There are so many seniors who do not understand what's out there or how it works. Or maybe they did at one point, like when they first turned 65, but they're like 73 now, and stuff's changed and nobody's ever bothered to explain it to them. Because especially like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like once you get past like 67 that people are really marketing to you anymore. And maybe they are, and I'm just not aware of it. But it seems to me that every person that I talk to for Final Expense who's in their 70s hasn't talked to a Medicare agent in years. Once they pass like 67, 68, Medicare agents don't want to have anything to do with them.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, yeah. So like I had 3 people that I talked to today who were all who I talked about Medicare with, and who were all just like, I don't really understand what's going on here. In one case, the Medicare agent didn't do a bad job by the person, but like didn't help them as fully as they could have. Like there were in Pennsylvania, we've got programs that don't exist in other states that their agent didn't help them enroll for or take advantage of, state-specific pharmaceutical assistance programs and things like that. And like just silly stuff and like easy things, but there are a lot of agents out there that don't really know what they're doing, or that are out there to just, hit the people turning 65, throw a plan F or a plan G. I guess not a plan F anymore, but throw a plan G at them when they're turning 65, and just, hit it and quit it and move on. And these people are still left a little baffled by how the whole thing works.
Yeah, like what you say about like the clients not knowing, like even from a final expense guy, and again, I don't have my health license. Even from the last video, 20 minutes ago, I still don't have it.
Still,
don't make fun of me. Still, I didn't do it in between. I still didn't do it in the 5 minutes it took you to reboot your computer, Nick. What I do know is every time I run into a client, and they'll just trust me. They're like, "Here's my red, white, and blue card. Here's all these other things," and they go, "I just know that I pay $20 when I go to the doctor, $35 when I go to a specialist, and it doesn't cost me money for my drugs. That's it. Like that's basically all they know. But what I know is there's a whole lot more to it than that. A whole lot more to it there, And if someone's not servicing those people, I don't know, are they getting taken advantage of, or they just have to stay in that same plan? Like, so when you go, go ahead.
One thing I wanted to just add into the equation here that probably a lot of agents don't think about, or maybe they do, I don't know, but an agent can do a fantastic job by a client. They can do a fantastic job explaining stuff to them, but even if they do, the advertising is going to confuse the hell out of them.
Yeah.
The commercials, like Joe Namath is an asshole.
Oh, that's the worst commercial. Like in terms of like just giving bad information and confusing the heck out of people.
Horrible.
Oh my God.
I must get at least one call a week from an existing client that's on a Medicare Advantage plan. And they're calling and they're like, what's all this free stuff?
Why don't I have one of those all-in-one plans?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, exactly. They're like, why don't I have all those all-in-one plans? I'm like, well, you do. Right. They're like, well, it makes it sound like I can get all this dental. I'm like, they say it's free dental. Free dental could be as simple as cleanings.
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
I try to, and then I have to explain. I have this conversation at least once a week. I swear, my hair falls out more and more the more I have this conversation. And I have to explain to them, I'm like, listen, they broadcast these commercials everywhere. Some of the benefits aren't available in all areas. Some of the benefits are greater in some areas. I'm like, but they're advertising for what you already have. They don't have anything that you don't have. I recorded a video of me on YouTube on our main channel because I got so sick of it. I started recording a series of videos where I go and I watch these commercials, and I react to them. And a couple of them, I even picked up the phone and I called the 1-800 number and I put it on speaker.
Nice.
And there was one in particular that was so great. The lady gets on the phone with me and she's like, "Are you on Medicare?" And I'm like pretending to be a senior. I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I'm like, I'm turning 65. She's like, "Call back when you have Medicare." And she hung up on me.
Whoa.
And
yikes.
Those are the kind of people behind these commercials.
Yeah.
I say it's the same. It's just almost the same as like explaining a colonial pen.
Yeah,
it's kind of about the same thing. It's just like I get to them and I'm like, "Look, we got to figure out your budget," and they're like, $9.95 a month. That's what TV said, so it's gonna cost that much. And I'm like, unfortunately, no. Like that's not how it works.
I love explaining to people that Colonial Penn is the most expensive life insurance plan that they can possibly find. Like there's nobody more expensive than Colonial Penn. $9.95 per thousand is, even if you're like 80, is a ridiculously high amount to pay for a life insurance policy.
That's insane.
Yeah. And for most people, and if you're 80, it's not per thousand. It's like $9.95 for like 500, because they change what a unit price is, because it's per unit, and they get to make up the rules as how much a unit is. And watching people's minds get blown, and then them kind of like their mind kind of gets blown, and then they come back and they go, "Yeah, I knew that wasn't right. I knew I knew there was something going on."
I always say, like, did you call them? And they go, yeah. I say, it wasn't $9.95, was it? And they're like,
Nope.
No, it was per thousand. Exactly. And so, but what I do from a final expense, and this might be a tip someone wants to use, like if I'm ever doing a rate book, like an old school one, and I'm looking up, I'm like, all right, Miss Jones, like you're 65 and you're non-smoking and you're in really good health. So like it says right here, it's only $4. And they're like, what? And they're like, that's it. And I'm like, that's what it says. And like, well, how much will that give me? And I'm like, Miss Jones, you know, that's only going to be for $1,000 worth of coverage. Like, how much do you want? And they're like, how much would 10 be? And I'm like, okay, 4 plus 4 equals 8. And then they go, it's about $40. And I go, oh, you're right. Oh, and then the policy fee, it's $43. They already knew what it was going to cost ahead of time. They knew their budget was that amount. They wanted the 15. They just, and that helped me sell so much. I'm like, that sounds good. They're like, yep, sounds good to me. All right, $75 it is. And then we move on with the application. I've sold a lot of policies that way. It works. So, Christian, do you do any final expense?
So we do it, but I don't do a lot of it. We probably do less than 30 policies a year for it. It's not a huge focus for us. And I'd say, you know, when we do it, it's when we trip into it. You know what I mean? Like more than anything. Like I ran, so we just started running YouTube ads locally. I'm kind of experimenting with that. And landed, well, I've only ran one campaign so far, but on the one campaign I did run, I did a 50-mile radius of our office. I spent $300 and I wrote 3 Medicare Advantage plans, 2 of them new to Medicare. I wrote a hospital indemnity. I wrote 2 dental plans, and then I tripped into $110 a month premium, fully underwritten final expense plan.
Nice.
And so
paid for
it. But with that one in particular, you know, it was somebody that contacted me seeing the ad, and she asked about it. Like, it wasn't that I did a good job fact finding or anything like that, but we don't do a whole bunch of it. It's not a huge focus for us, I guess, but I know it should be more.
So I guess to turn the question around, like I can't really tell you why more final expense agents don't do Medicare, other than I think some of the service work freaks them out. Having to certify every year for AHIP sort of freaks them out.
Yeah.
The 2 things that I found, and even for me, the 2 things I found is we're so scared of compliance.
Sure.
Because if you screw it up, essentially you lose your renewals, right? Like there's that part. And sort of. 2, we're so addicted to the fast money.
Right. Well, yeah.
That's the 2 main reasons that I see people can't make the transition.
Yeah. Well, and I think if you get into a place where your income is very stable with final expense, it's at the very least worth exploring, seeing whether or not, you know, you can add Medicare in. I don't find that it adds any time to my week. It adds time in terms of service work. Like I have to do more service work, but I do service work for my final expense stuff too anyway. I'm not the type of final expense agent that doesn't do service work. Like I know a lot don't. But to flip that around, like, Christian, why do you not sell more final expense? Why are you not focused on that? Why is that not a thing that you look at?
That's a great question. It's a great question. I think, like, for me, when I first got started, I got my health license and I did not have my life license. I was kind of the opposite of Matt. So I got my life license in year 2 of being in the business, and it was just never a focus. You know, like for some reason, I've probably done more policies for final expense in the last 2 years than I probably ever have before. But like, I'd say my first 3-4 years of having my life license, I probably was only writing like 2-3 a year. And I think it was just kind of the intimidation aspect of it, because, you know, for the Medicare side of things, it's such an easy sell. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It is. It's such an easy sell. And to go from the Medicare pitches and the Medicare closes and closing down a Medicare sale, I guess, I've heard this from other Medicare agents too. So it's not just me that felt that in the beginning. I'm much better at it today, but I think that from a Medicare agent's perspective, they have that fear of losing the easy sale if they move into that kind of sell. And I think that's really misguided. I think, it's just like you said, Nick, it's just bringing it up. If you bring it up to 6 and one of them buys and you talk to 100 people a month, you know what I mean? Like, do the math, I think for me, it was just basically the intimidation of it. And then, once I started really committing to bringing it up, we started seeing those numbers increase.
Yeah. I mean, we did a video with Justin Brock, and he talks about like just slowly filling your pipeline. He gets like an email address from everybody, and he sends out emails once a week. And it's so simple. It doesn't cost him hardly anything. And he's found that like over time, building that huge pipeline, because they've built that trust, they're your clients already. They trust you. So if you just go back and say, hey, like, we offer all these things, including like life insurance and final expense planning, you might want to check it out, and just send that out like once every couple of weeks or once a month. You'll probably find that you're going to have one of those that just reach out to you and go, yeah, like, I've got about $100 a month to spend on this final expense insurance. I went to the funeral home. It was $350 a month to do a pre-need. What can you do for me? I've got $100 a month, and you'll just start selling significant amount of final expense.
Yeah. And then, and we've actually been doing some things like that recently. Like a couple weeks ago, we sent out a MailChimp campaign to our clients. And, we probably have in this particular campaign, we probably have 400 email addresses or something like that of clients. We've been trying to build it and get more of them in there and get as many of them in there as we can. But we sent out a final expense email drop basically about 3 weeks ago. And I told my staff, I'm like, listen, we want to send this out. We want to make sure that they know that we offer it. We want to make sure that we know it's something that we can do. And that one, right, the first week we did it, we wrote 2 apps from it. So I found that to be true too. It's just about bringing it up. And that's what we did a bad job of doing, until recently. I think we've done a much better job, but I think that at the beginning it was just, being complacent. You get complacent with the Medicare sale, and you're just like, that's what I do. And then once you start making it a focus though, it changes everything dramatically.
Yeah. No, and I can see that, and I can see how, especially if you're not really looking for it. And I know I was guilty of this for a long time with Medicare also, and I and I've done Medicare for a long time. I've done Medicare for longer than I've been doing final expense, but there was a period of time there when I was switching lead vendors. And I went from one lead vendor that for whatever reason, I ended up seeing a lot of Medicare supplement prospects off of that lead vendor, just the way they collected their data, to I just didn't see people that were Medicare supplement prospects at all. I just stopped. I see maybe 3 MedSup prospects a year off of this new lead vendor's data. I like the lead vendor. Otherwise, it's not a complaint. It's just is. Some of it's also shifting demographics and where I live and stuff like that. But I wasn't comfortable with Medicare Advantage, and I wasn't AHIP certified. And I got myself AHIP certified because I realized that stuff was shifting and changing. But I think I certified for AHIP twice in a row, like 2 years in a row. And between those 2 years, I only wrote 10. I only did like 10 enrollments. And like that first AEP, I didn't write anything. That first AEP that I was certified, just because I wasn't looking for it, and it wasn't something I felt comfortable with. And it wasn't something that I was like, yeah, I really need to do this. And so I just kind of didn't. And then certification for AHIP rolled around again, and I kind of kicked myself and I said, I'm going to do better this year. And then I kind of didn't again.
Yeah.
And so there is a level of like, you do have to actually look for these things. They're totally there if you look, but you do actually have to look for them. And if you don't, it will just pass you by.
And I think, I don't know if you've had this experience too, Nick, but like another thing that was really a big eye opener for me this year specifically was under 65 sales. And so I was we had an agency here in Utah that was, downtown Salt Lake City. And we were referring all of our people for under 65 insurance over to them for years. And they'd give us a little bit of a cutback, like maybe $25 an app, something like that. They used to give us more. I went back and looked at it at the end of the year last year, probably around Christmas time after AEP. And I was kind of looking to see how many referrals we sent over to them last year. And just me, by myself, I sent her 60 plus referrals last year. And I was just like, I had no idea it was that many because, our staff is trained to just send them over, like they don't even talk to me. And that was a big eye opener for me too, so we just started offering that this year, and it's been a huge addition to what we do, because like we don't even need to market for that kind of stuff. People refer their grandchildren to us, you know what I mean? Or maybe there's someone turned 65 and their spouse is 62, I think it's just about, finding the comfort zone and the comfort level, the opportunity is totally there,
No, across the board with all of that stuff. I mean, and I'm the same way about under 65 stuff that I was like 5 years ago about Medicare Advantage, where it's like, yeah, I should. I have taken the entire certification course for ACA except for the test. Like I've done all of it except for the test, and I've had the window with the tests open on my desktop for like a month and a half. And I just haven't taken it. Like, I don't know. There's no reason why not. I just haven't made time for it. And it's like Matt not getting his health license. It's been years.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, the stuff's all there. The key is I do think you have to be comfortable with something. You have to have a thing that's the thing that you do, and you have to be comfortable with that. And that's got to be, you got to have like a backbone to your business, that you run everything off of. But then you're right. There's a ton of stuff. There was a guy today, one of the people I talked about earlier about that I saw earlier today, who I sold a Medicare plan to. Her domestic partner, he didn't have. He was just retiring, like he was retired officially as of the 1st of this month. And he was looking to get into an ACA plan, and he's got a pension that's like $150,000 pension that he's taking a cash distribution from, and like there's a whole bunch of stuff there that a year ago, had I talked to him, I probably just would have like ignored him entirely, and I would have just focused on her. So.
I watched somebody here in the home office in Wilmington get a live transfer lead, and he stumbled across a guy that was local, like 40 minutes away. And the guy was a live transfer, meaning like it got transferred from like somebody. It's weird. The guy had $700,000 in the savings.
Whew. Just in savings, just sitting like in an account.
Savings.
Jesus,
a boss.
It's just straight up. And he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about like, I want to make sure my final expenses are taken care of. And like, I've got money. And, of course the agent was prodding a little bit. And I was like, what are you like, let me listen. And it was like, I was like, yeah, like, I think I have like $725,000 like in the savings. And so like, I can probably pay for this, just go to the funeral home. But like, I don't like to spend that much money at one time, obviously. So I'd rather just do it on a monthly basis out of my checking account. And I was like, we've got to go talk to this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've got to go talk to this guy. We sold him a final expense policy.
Right.
Right.
Did you also get his money out of his savings account?
Oh, we're following up.
Yeah.
Like later this week.
There's no way that it's a good idea for him to have that much money sitting in a savings account.
No. I mean, so the other thing that, is one of those things you were talking about, Nick, like, you should be getting into it, but you don't.
Yeah.
For me, is annuities.
Yes.
That's something that, well, I am completely sold and convinced that's something we need to be into. It's just only so many hours in the day.
Well, and I would say from your perspective, the way that you're leading things, it's probably easier for you to get into talking to people about their annuities than it is to talk about final expense.
Totally.
Like, It's a more complicated sale and it's a longer process, but you've established that relationship already. You know, I know several of the big hitters that I used to know back in my previous existence who were annuity producers, all used specifically med supp leads to lead into their annuity sales, to use as prospecting tools, because they'd get all the financial information that they needed during the course of a Medicare evaluation. You know, they just make it part of their fact finder.
Yeah, actually, one of the bigger IMOs, it's more of a captive situation. They run med supp leads, and then they have their senior advisors come with the agent on the med supp sales. And once they've got the med supp and they see the sheet, they just call them back up and go, "Hey, Miss Jones, I'm so-and-so with so-and-so company, and we're going to come talk to you about your, all this other stuff." And they make huge money off of it.
Yeah.
Huge money.
I mean, you want to talk about a home run, that's going to be it. The annuity sales.
Yeah.
It pays for your whole marketing for the month. If you just drop one a month will pay for most of your marketing for the month. And so I think, and Justin Brock said it, shout out to Justin Brock. He's one of his videos is over here. We did 2 with them. His is more about like, hey, by the way, we talked about like the MailChimp. You're like, hey, by the way, I do Final Expense, and you wrote 2 sales. If you just say, hey, by the way, if you have X amount of, if you're not earning this much money off of your savings account, and if it's over X amount of, whatever it can be, reach out to us. We want to talk about that. You would be surprised. You would actually get phone calls from seniors that have money in the bank, like straight boss hogs.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. It's a focus that we need to have. I mean, it's something that's definitely at the forefront.
I tell you what, we'll make a pact here now. Nick,
okay,
you learn under 65. Christian, you learn annuities, and I'll get my health license.
We'll make this pact, but you're not going to get your health license.
No, we're making the pact. It's on record. We're doing it. I'm
gonna You giving yourself a deadline?
I'm going to give myself a deadline. Now, I will say I just moved to North Carolina.
Right.
So I have to switch my licenses around. I'm sure there's something there in the Department of Insurance that I have to take care of.
I remember doing that in Florida. That wasn't fun.
Yeah, it's a headache. Not what I'm willing to take on right now. But I will be health licensed. Write it down, Nick.
2021?
No.
No,
it'll be before August 15th.
Before August 15th. Dang.
Ooh,
okay. That is okay. All right. I can be ACA certified and have done something with ACA by then.
And we already have some annuity contracts, so it's just a matter of me figuring it out.
You got to sell one before August 15th.
Okay, I can do that.
August 15th.
I believe in myself. I can do that.
You can do that. So there you go.
Perfect, guys.
All right, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Well, this is fun, Christian. You're actually an awesome guest. Love talking to you. It almost feels like you're just like part of the insurance panel, especially that huge mic that you have. Is that a Yeti?
It's a Yeti. It's a blue Yeti.
Blue Yeti. Yeah, I was looking at one of those. You sound crisp.
Yeah, it's good.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's the best mic I've had. I've spent so much money on crappy mics trying to save a buck, and then I just went out and bought like a $200 mic, and it was just.
It's worth it, right?
Totally worth it. Yeah.
Doesn't have a $16 a month Zoom. It's got a $200 mic.
$200 mic.
Yeah. So, but no, it's really been great having you on here. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the content. If you want to see more of Christian, put it down below. Let him know you want to talk more about Medicare. You want to talk more about what that's about and how it works, or how to cross-sell, how to do annuities cross-selling, how to do under 65 cross-selling, or how to get your health insurance license. Doesn't matter what you do. Drop it down in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Nick, always awesome, man. Congratulations on getting back in the field.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited.
Thank you for having me, guys. It was a blast.
Yeah, it's absolutely fun. So if y'all
literally anytime.
Yeah, literally anytime.
Yeah,
anytime. I would love to do something again with you, Christian. Seriously, you're a great guy. I don't care what Nick said about you. I think you're all right.
Well, I hear whispers from time to time. It's like, that Nick Frumpkin, he was really being kind of rough on you today. And I was like, whoa, really? I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah. No, but no, seriously, guys, it was great. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Give us a like. Consider subscribing. Go over to Christian's channel and subscribe to his channel. He does some good stuff over there.
Join his Facebook group.
Join his Facebook group. What's the name of your Facebook group? Tell us what it's called.
Six-figure Medicare agent.
Do you have to make 6 figures as a Medicare agent to join in there, or is it just like a?
It's basically, you know, to help. The purpose of the group is to help new agents get to a point where they're making 6 figures as a Medicare.
There you go.
Agent. When I say 6 figures, I mean renewals.
There you go. Service fee. If you want to make 6 figures in renewals, go find his Facebook group. It's awesome. We'll be back soon with another video, guys. Thanks for joining the insurance panel.